That year it was winter, especially cold. There was much snow, but a strong wind climbed under a fur coat, blew his face, and was permeated with cold. Hands in knitted mittens. Sophia asked her brother to ride her on a sled after school. Maxim agreed. But they walked for a short time, froze quickly, and quickly ran home to warm up. Alone, Maxim did not even have time to move down the hill, and at home waiting for hot tea and pancakes with sour cream. Mom only asked, "Don't forget to wash your hands." After the street, while Sophia was seated at the table, Maxim brought a jar of apricot jam from the pantry. Pancakes with jam were even tastier. I remember that last happy time. For a blizzard window, and the kitchen smells like pancakes. Mother fusses at the stove, and they spread the pancake with a layer of sour cream. Orange sweet mass is added on top, rolled into a tube. Are eating the most delicious pancakes in the world. Never have they ever eaten such delicious food in their lives, never no longer ate also carefree, happy and serene. They never thought about tomorrow, just about that the holidays will end soon, they need to go back to school, do homework instead of walking on the hill. Hello! Sophia already thought what to give Dad and brother on February 23rd, but it will still be so far away. There is more time to draw beautiful drawings with Mom, think over gifts, birthday cake. In the meantime, only a blizzard howls outside the window, and the pancake melts in your mouth. Sour cream and apricot jam. How this simple childish naivete may suddenly end, this carelessness just cuts short with the life of parents. In one moment the whole world collapsed. Habitual cozy house, warm soft bed, favorite cup in the kitchen, mother's pancakes, fairy tales in the evenings from a big book with beautiful color pictures. Instead this cold, draft, strangers, pain, tears, effervescent salty tears. They don't let me see properly. All as if in a fog. Head like a huge hammer knocking on an iron drum, ears pawns, legs do not hold. And the tears keep pouring in pouring, as if in the eyes there is some kind of endless river, salt water, which has broken through the dam and will not flow out all. My only brother is the same, just as strong, adult, as always in all situations. When Sophia was teased at school, he stood next to, and all the hurtful teasing stopped. When I went into the yard, the boys started to push her, driving off the swing. He came up and drove the hooligans away. When she fell and skinned her knees, he was there, washed the frames with water, blew on them, to sting less. And when she caught a cold, go snot. My brother found and asked for more napkins in the dining room and solved this problem. Maxim was always there, always holding her hand, always defending, and taking care of his beloved little sister. Helped solve puzzles, helped write difficult words, helped me learn to read, although there were always many lessons and other activities. He was only 2 years older, but stronger, braver than everyone around, when it came to him, Sophia. I know he was stronger too. He wept furtively, not so, how is she, burst open, but he always held her hand, hugged her. It seemed, he covers her with himself from all that cold horror that goes around. Hello, Sophia in the arms of her brother did not quite think, where are strangers taking them? Why didn't they just take anything with them, only her favorite plush bunny? What this is a big room, someone else's, unfamiliar. What kind of children are around who these caregivers or teachers? She was like in a dream, long, incomprehensible with her from salty tears. Understanding gradually came, that they won't come home, that this is someone else's, an unfamiliar place will now be their life, that these people around are not going anywhere, will always call her, forced to do something, go somewhere, lie down in someone else's cold hard bed, eat in the canteen, wash in the big room with other noisy children. Maxim tried to be near, sister. He must be strong, must protect her from all, comfort her in their shared grief. Sophia sometimes looked at him with such naive eyes and asked him again, when will they go home? Soon summer will end, they can go back. But it's impossible to go back. Past no return, no big house and family, their parents are not with them. There is no this carefree happy childhood, which was supposed to last, broke so suddenly, rough and painful. Fine, that at least they are together, they have each other. Sophia couldn't sleep for several months until Maxim was allowed to see her. Only holding his hand, she stopped crying and forgot herself in an endless, disturbing dream. Maxim then quietly tiptoed into the bedroom of the senior group and lay for a long time in a state-on bed, silently, just staring at the dark ceiling. I only then stingy and boyish tears rolled out of the corners of the eyes, rolled down the temples, hair and pillow. Nobody didn't see it in the dark, no one knew how much it hurt him. On the other side of town, not holding back, sobbed into the pillow a young and beautiful woman. Husband walked around the apartment like a ghost, drank heart drops, smoking endlessly on the balcony. There was a frame with a photo of a boy on the table, a cheerful smiling boy aged 12. Eyes he had so perky, like he just heard a funny joke. That's just a thin black mourning stripe on the corner of the photo. It was sad. Not a joke, creepy reality. Gone 3 months after son's death, and the mother could not calm down, put up with. And cry, let him go, and sadness for him no. Every day, this torment continued every hour, maternal pain did not subside. My husband and I spent the weekend at the cemetery, on the grave of their son. Mother cried, lamented, embraced the hill of frozen earth. Husband first thought, what if you let her cry, then over time it should get easier. But it didn't get any easier. She again and again asked to take her to the cemetery, again and again wept at the grave, and he tried to take her away, picking her up quickly, since it gave no relief. And at home the hell continued. Inconsolable, above and suffering, tears, painful days without their son. Mr. Murphy, it was hard to see his wife like that, but he couldn't help it. He already understood that she can't handle her grief, but how can I help her, he did not know. He strongly advised me to go back to work and talk to my wife, to go to work. Casual worries should have distracted her, but she didn't want to see anyone. Didn't want to live. He had to really work again, leaving Africa at home alone. He called her every hour, said that he missed and loved her, and I was afraid that she wouldn't pick up the phone. She understood that the husband needs support and tried to fight my despair, but it turned out badly. Expensive, how are you? I'll finish my shift in a couple of hours and come home. Fine, can go to a candy store and buy your favorite cupcakes to me on the way, thank you and I want. Let me buy anyway, and then you think, maybe you want. Meet me at home in 2 hours. Kiss you and you, answered Africa, but the voice was like from the other world. Mr. Murphy tried to finish the reception faster, but still had to be in the office until the end of the shift. Today I should bring a group of children from the orphanage to the annual examination. How an oculist had to check everyone's eyesight, at least I remember most of my patients well. In that group, only 2 boys had vision problems, and they wore glasses. The rest were all right. Shift that is not difficult, but a lot of writing. Fill the magazine, write everything down on a card. And here they brought the first. So who is this? Here is the card. Routine work. A typical day for a pediatric ophthalmologist at a polyclinic. End of shift soon, it will be possible to hurry home to Africa, that she wasn't alone, in an empty apartment. Suddenly Mr. Murphy's hand froze. In the office came the boy from the orphanage group. Mr. Murphy showed a hint that this is his son. I went into the room. How he looks like Daniel. They have the same facial features, the same hair, nose, mouth, lips, chin, and the same bottomless gray-blue eyes. God, how similar. Doctor stood, didn't say anything, Maxim didn't know. What should he do? Wait, what will the doctor say? He silently walked closer, gently took his head and turned it to face the light. Watched on his face. The doctors expressed some strange feeling, as if he saw something unusual. He or an oculist, and does not look at the eyes. For some reason Maxim even thought that tears shone in the eyes of the doctor. Or maybe because of the shiny glasses of his glasses. What is your name? Maxim? Well, hello, Maxim. Let's meet. My name is Mr. Murphy. I haven't seen you before. My sister and I have been here recently, only a few months. It's clear. Tell, Maxim, do you see everything well, or is something bothering you? Let's check visual acuity. Sit down over here and close one eye. You already have been to the optometrist, you know how it's done. Mom took me to see my sister. You show the letters, and I call them. Quite right. Let's watch. How are you doing now? Mr. Murphy carried out a routine inspection. All was standard, boy with good eyesight and no problems. But the doctor cannot stop the trembling in his hands. What to do, he thought feverishly. After made up his mind, he wrote on a card that the child needs further examination. So he will be brought back for examination. Home. Home. Mr. Murphy did not go, didn't run, but flew. He completely forgot about the pastry cupcakes. He flew up the stairs to the 4th floor, without waiting, while the slow elevator went down. Having opened the door, he, without taking off your shoes and without taking off your coat, immediately went to the room with his wife. Africa, you have no idea what happened today. Africa. She looked up at him with astonished eyes. She has never seen her husband so excited. Mr. Murphy was always reserved and pedantic, and then he flew into the room in street shoes, right in the clothes. He walked up to her and hugged his wife. He found a way out of this despair and will be able to give her something which will lessen her suffering. On the next day, they were already standing at the gates of the orphanage. To start the shift of Mr. Murphy, there was still a lot of time. They could take their time. They watched how to take the kids outside, one group, then another water. A group of boys appeared at the door. Mr. Murphy looked out for his yesterday's patient in warm clothes and a hat. It was hard to recognize him among others. Africa was the first to see him and immediately recognized him. Husband ate and managed to catch it. She almost fell and could not stand on wobbly legs. But she quickly mastered herself, watched, like a boy, so like her son, playing with a baby, with some girl from the younger group. She couldn't take her eyes off him, seemed. I was even afraid to blink. Suddenly this mirage appeared, and you should close your eyes. How does he turn into a normal boy, like all the other kids? But he stayed the same, how she saw him in the first second. Marvelous, many children with longing, looking in their direction with hope. All they were waiting for was a miracle, wanted, so that people would appear in this gate, who would take them and become their family. This boy never once looked in their direction, like he didn't need his parents. When children led away walks in the room, Mr. Murphy and Africa went into the yard and went to the building. They saw that almost from all the windows children's eyes were watching them with curiosity and hope. But they only followed one of them, for a specific child, who today will be lucky to become someone's son, get mom and dad, which everyone here dreams of. Director received them immediately and listened carefully. Mr. Murphy remembered the name of the boy by heart. He explained why they need this boy, just necessary. He showed a photo of the deceased Daniel. The director carefully and sadly looked at the face of their son. She asked in the closet and took out a folder with Maxim's personal file. Opened and saw how the photo of her new pupil is similar to the face of the son of their unfortunate parents. Maxim has a younger sister. We only need a boy. We are not ready to take 2 children. Please, understand, we've been through this. We are not yet ready to think about our 2 children. We want to take Maxim, and then, maybe, we will adopt his sister at least 6 months later. Do you understand that boys look alike, but only outwardly? Maxim is a completely different child, with a different character, with a different upbringing. No, he comes from a very good family and does well in school. But he is not your son, only looks like him. This doesn't matter. We understand that he is different, and that we are strangers to him. But we will love him so, like no one can love. We know too well the price of life, its transience. We will do everything to make this boy happy. I understand. Understand. Maybe, suffering such a loss, you can really especially appreciate every day and every moment next to your loved one. Help us. We can't live without it. Help, begged Africa. The director gave me a list of documents necessary for the adoption procedure. They thanked and hurried to immediately start collecting all the information, characteristics, and extracts. Africa didn't go home sadly. She ran to all offices for information. She lived. Eyes glittered, movements are clear, steps are quick and sure. There is no longer that former yearning woman, barely standing. No, now she has a purpose. She will have a son again. Her son. Meanwhile, the headmistress, together with the teacher, was talking with the children. Boy, I didn't want to leave my sister alone. He refused to adopt. The girl clung to him and cried, asking not to leave her here. He hugged her and firmly, categorically stated that they will be together, only together. Then the headmistress agreed. She let them both go just for a while. She and I just decided to separate them and persuade them separately. For each child, she prepared her arguments and began a heartfelt conversation with the children. First with brother, then sister, then back with my brother. She explained that parting with a sister is not forever. If he will be a good son to these adoptive parents, then they'll take their sister too. They will be a family again, they will be together, and will be happy. He wants, so that his sisters are mothers again, to have her own bed and toys, for her to go to school, like a normal child. They are a group of orphans from an orphanage. Almost she said the same thing to her sister, only explained, what if a girl loves her brother, then I should let him go to the family, where he will be happy. And quote, where will loving parents be, and quote, and if everything goes well, they'll take her away in a few months, and they will be together again, and will be in a good family, good people. These people will love them, like your own children. Only for this you need, so that they take their brother first. The kids gave up. They trusted adults, that this parting is not for long, that they will be together again. All will be good. Directories, the main thing was to persuade the brother, and she got his consent. He really was ready for anything, just to make his little sister feel good for her sake. And agreed. When foster parents took him away, Sophia walked beside the gate, couldn't let go of his hand, crying and begging, not leave me, please, don't leave me here. Take me away, as soon as you can. I will be waiting for you. She honestly waited, did not leave the window, and followed the gate. This became her habit. All years, living in an orphanage, she is sad, looking out the window hopefully, to the track, at the gate, to people passing by on the street. She looked out for non-adults, but a little 12-year-old boy. I end this daily expectation, she did not even think that he is also growing, like her, that he is no longer 12. Nobody paid much attention to her. All the children were waiting for a miracle. Waited, hoped, that they would be taken. Just other children were waiting for an adult aunt, who will be their mother, or uncle, ready to be a father. And Sophia was waiting for her brother, and no aunts and uncles interested her. Without brothers, life has changed a lot. Now no one held her hand, no one hugged or wiped her tears, no one protected high school students from the cruelty of other children. She had to deal with everything herself. She left all alone in this life, and it hurt even more than then, when parents were gone. After all, then there was Maxim, and now there is no one to help her, support and pity her. School ended, the orphanage left behind. Before topics, how to leave the gate for the last time, Sophia went to the director. She asked me to give her brother's address, asked me to call her, to report, if a brother appears and looks for. The director promised. Walked of the year. Sophia never knew that foster parents almost immediately had to go far away, on the other side of the country. They promised a crying son that be sure to come back for his sister as soon as they settled down in a new place. But something constantly prevented them from fulfilling this promise. They loved their boy, loved sincerely, with all my heart, and wanted. So that he loved them, only them, not distracted by an unnecessary girl. When it seemed to him that they were already well settled and everything was fine with the new housing and from work with their parents, he started talking about his sister again. And here it turned out that they urgently need to move. We have already transferred to another area, getting ready to move again, looking for a new home again, and son's transfer to another school. Again, I need to settle in and get used to the new city, to a new school, to the new job of the parents. Maxim Ross finished school, went to college, and went to the second course. He spoke again about his sister, because now he will study here permanently and can live in a student hostel, even if parents again, as usual, have to move somewhere. Mother promised. What will go and clarify, when can I pick up his sister? She was going for a long time, went to different authorities and collected various certificates and papers necessary for adoption, not to go a second time, and immediately applied for adoption. And there were long queues at the offices, documents were lost, it was written with errors. When everything was finally ready, Africa Alexeyevna went to that city, to the orphanage, and gave her a beloved son. But his sister has already grown up and got a passport, no longer living there. She had already left the walls of the boarding school, and the headmistress didn't know where to look for a girl. How not sad, son will have to deal with it, that he will be the only child in the family. Maxim could not accept, couldn't forget that little girl, who did not let go of her hand and asked not to leave her alone. He couldn't afford not to forget, don't get over losing her. She is alive. She is somewhere there. I hope he will find her. Someday I will definitely find it. He doesn't know yet how we will search. Search everywhere and always, until he hugs his Sophia. Sophia, oh, how his support was needed and counted for adult life. The orphanage had strict rules and educators, keeping order, indicating what to do and when. You are an adult. I know real life, who would need it, who would be important. No one near, no. Friends, no experienced adults, who could tell, guide her in the right way, in the right direction. She herself did not understand. As it turned out, the company of the wrong people. Incomprehensible adult life spun round, dance around her. A young man appeared, who at first courted and complimented, and waited for reciprocity, began to act like the master of her life. She listened to everything, she was used to obeying her elders, and did not immediately understand that not all his earnings are honest, safe. The years went by, this swamp dragged Sophia to the very bottom. She didn't drink much, but I could bid for the company. More often all she did was sit on the kitchen windowsill and smoke. Sight she thoughtfully looked at one point. The park started at home, surrounded by a high iron fence, and there, where was Sophia looking, there was a gate, almost the same, like in her house, and Sophia, out of habit, looked there, as if now a boy will run into this gate and call her by name. She will drop everything and rush towards him. They hug and cry with happiness. This nightmare will be left behind. They will be together. And everything in her life will be fine. Will just like normal people. Now there will be a smoky kitchen, her hubby's friends, there will be no drunken beatings and scandals of a jealous drunkard. After all, how other people live. Win in other windows, and the light is more cheerful, curtains with lace ruffles, and flowers on the windowsill, and a big fluffy cat. Not that, what does she have? Women are beautifully dressed, walk with wheelchairs, and take the kids to the playground. Can she become a mother, where she will bring her child in this dirty den, into which, through the efforts of her husband, her one-room apartment turned into distant childhood memories of living at home with her parents have long been erased from her memory, washed away by the pain of loneliness, weaved desperation. Only sometimes vague images came in a dream, as if memory was playing a cruel joke. She could no longer remember her mother's face, nor the father. Yes, and my brother, too, almost completely forgot, only the look of his grey-blue eyes stared at her occasionally. And then she woke up with her face wet with tears, and the drunken husband began to pester her with questions. What is this guy named? In dream she tried to explain that she dreamed of her brother, but hubby did not believe, shouted that she is an orphanage, she didn't have any brothers, she invented it, not to confess what changed him, that the lover dreamed, hiding behind a fictitious brother. Started another scandal and another beating. Sophia endured, thought that she had nowhere to go. She cursed her life, so worthless, lost. Another she didn't know. So long I couldn't go on. One day, after another dream with Maxim, hubby pounced on her first with fists and then grabbed a knife. She resisted, fought back, defended. She didn't understand how it happened that he fell and stumbled upon the blade. She was just trying to get away from him, afraid that he would really kill her. Neighbors called the police again. The grandmother from the apartment on the floor below often called the district police and to the department. Hearing habitual cries, the crash of falling stools, some sounds of pots beating on the floor, screaming again, Grandma couldn't resist, called the police again. A bloody Sophia was first taken by ambulance to the hospital. He sewed up the cut wounds on his hands and then taken to jail. Who buried her husband, she didn't know and didn't want to know. None remorse, only longing and devastation in the soul, no more. From the loss of a husband, no joy from release from his drunken beatings and hopeless family life. Indifference and the void. Even the wound on the hands almost does not hurt, she just doesn't feel them. She is accustomed to the pain of constant beatings. These wounds, this is nonsense compared to once broken ribs, broken jaw, with broken fingers, with a broken life. Sophia indifferently signed all the papers, all protocols. To her it didn't matter. Prove one's innocence, explain how it was, she did not want to, I could not. Just lowered her hands, went with the flow. Children's house, nightmare family life will soon give way to life behind bars. But she doesn't care. She won't fight anymore. Not will you wait for the boy. Escaping into the gate. At the trial, she didn't look at anyone, sat, relaxed, eyes on the floor. Only a couple of times raised her head to the judge when he spoke to her. Sophia did not see how the face of the prosecutor had changed. She did not pay attention. Why was the hearing adjourned? She was just taken to another room. Now she turned her attention to the man who came to her. He carried a plate, put it on the table, and offered to eat. She automatically took the offered fork and began to separate a piece of pancake rolled into a tube. Put in the mouth. Inside the pancake was sour cream, something else with a familiar taste. Apricot jam. Pancakes with sour cream, Maxim always liked apricot jam. Sophia raised her eyes to an unfamiliar man. She didn't know him. He was completely unfamiliar to her. What are those eyes? She dreamed of them so often. She stopped chewing and could not swallow a piece of surging feelings. Man looked not in such love, hope. He waited, and she recognized him. She found out. I didn't even understand at first what he was. Just tears clouded her whole face. Grimaced in a silent dress, and tears flowed from my eyes. She hasn't cried in a long time. She used to cry in grief, loneliness. I stopped in recent years, like the tears are gone. But now it was a completely different tear. She didn't know before what it is like to cry with happiness. He embraced her as usual, as in childhood, and started wiping her wet face. How long has he been waiting for this moment? How long I was looking for her and found the unfortunate, downtrodden, crippled, accused of grisly murder. No, he won't let anyone hurt her anymore. He deals with this matter, she will definitely understand and will not let her be judged unfairly. He takes her home. They will live together and will live happily. His wife will be happy. She always supported him and helped Maxim in search of his sister. If she fries such delicious pancakes, just like in childhood, their mother fried pancakes with sour cream and apricot jam.